All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today, we're looking at something I think really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's this concept of like 18, arts of humility.
Okay.
And I know when you hear the word humility, you might think like meekness or,
Right. Being self-effacing.
yeah, fading into the backgrounds, yeah. But that's actually not what this is about at all. We're looking at this from a Thai source. So
Okay.
the actual title in Thai is 18. Which translates to 18 Arts of Humility. So we'll be talking about it in English, obviously, but I just wanted to give you the source material.
Of course.
But it's really about strategic humility, and how being humble can actually help you learn and achieve more in the world.
Yes.
And even navigate, like, difficult situations more effectively. So have you ever felt like you have to have all the answers?
Oh, all the time.
Even when you don't?
Yeah.
Or like maybe you jump into things a little too quickly?
Oh, yeah, definitely guilty of that.
Without thinking them through. Yeah, this deep dive might offer some surprising solutions to that.
I think so, yeah, because one of the things that's so interesting about these 18 arts is that they kind of turn the typical view of humility on its head. It's not about shrinking back or hiding your talents. It's more about using self-awareness and really thoughtful action to actually achieve more. So it's almost like a subtle but powerful approach to success.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
The source kind of groups these 18 arts into these different themes.
Right.
And the first one really highlights the power of listening and learning.
Okay.
So like, for example, arts number 2, 3, and 4 all emphasize acknowledging that you don't know everything.
Right.
And that being open to feedback, even criticism, can actually fuel your growth.
It's true.
So you're kind of turning potential setbacks into like...
stepping stones.
Yeah, I love that.
It reminds me of that saying, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Exactly.
But what really struck me was art #17. It says, when others perform better than you, you need to try harder. Oh, that's a good one.
It's so easy to feel discouraged in those situations.
Absolutely.
But this reframes it as a challenge.
It does. It totally shifts your perspective from competition to continuous improvement, which I think is a much healthier way to look at things.
Yeah, and I feel like that really leads into the next cluster of these arts.
Okay.
Which includes arts #5 and #11, which are all about strategic action, not just talk.
So less talk, more action.
Yeah, so for instance, art #5 suggests, don't just dream without taking action. Start with small things, step by step.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then art #11 reminds us that successful people don't make promises easily if they know they can't keep them.
That's a really good point.
It's all about building trust through actions, not just words.
Yeah, and this kind of leads us into, I think, a really fascinating cluster, which is the art of subtle influence.
Okay.
And it might seem counterintuitive that humility can actually make you a stronger leader and influencer.
Okay.
But that's kind of the point of these arts.
So there's one here, art #1, that kind of threw me off at first. It says, let others show off, but always remain humble yourself.
That's an interesting one.
And my first thought was, well, wouldn't that just make you fade into the background?
Yeah, that's a natural thought.
If you're always letting other people shine, how do you shine?
Right, but that's where the art comes in, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes letting others shine can actually make you more memorable in the long run. Have you ever heard of the pratfall effect?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, basically, it's this psychological phenomenon where showing a little bit of vulnerability can actually make you more relatable and likable. So by letting others take center stage, you're kind of demonstrating that you're not afraid to step back.
Oh, I see.
And let others have their moment. And that can actually make you more appealing to people.
Interesting. So it's kind of like leading from behind in a way.
Yeah, in a way it is. It's about strategic humility, remembering.
Yes. Okay, now another one that I was kind of surprised by was art #8, which says, capable people don't let others know their thoughts easily. They keep things to themselves when they think it's inappropriate to speak out. So why would someone who's actually really capable choose to stay silent?
Well, I think that's the strategic element of it.
Okay.
It's not about being silent all the time. It's about choosing your battles and choosing the moments when to speak. So silence can actually become a tool for observation.
Okay.
By carefully choosing when to contribute. Your words will actually carry more weight when you do speak. And it's also about demonstrating competence through action, not just boasting.
I see. So it's not about hiding your abilities.
Exactly.
It's about picking and choosing when to reveal them.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the next cluster we have here focuses on respect.
Okay.
which I think is a pretty self-explanatory concept.
Yeah.
But one that I found really interesting was art #9. It says, there's no need to argue about trivial matters just because you want to win.
Oh, that's a good one.
How many of us are guilty of that, though?
I know I am.
You know, just wanting to be right,
All the time.
even when it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like our ego gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
But picking your battles wisely, I think, is a really important part of humility.
Yeah.
And it applies to every aspect of life. It's not about being a pushover. It's about discerning what truly matters and then focusing your energy there.
Yeah. And then finally, we come to this concept of embracing the long game.
Sure.
So, for instance, art #16 advises, taking a step back doesn't mean you're weak or afraid it's preserving your energy and will ultimately lead to victory.
So it's about strategy, not weakness.
Yeah.
It's like a strategic retreat in chess.
Okay.
Sometimes stepping back can give you a lot of clarity
Good.
and allow you to approach challenges with a fresh perspective.
So, have you ever had a time where you were working on a project or something
Oh, yeah, all the time.
and you were just completely stuck?
Yeah.
And then maybe you took a break or you stepped back from it for a little bit,
Right.
and then you came back to it. And suddenly you saw a solution
Totally.
that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is talking about.
It is. It's about looking at the big picture,
Wow.
not just reacting in the moment.
So what does all of this mean for you, the listener? These 18 arts suggest that true humility isn't about shrinking yourself or hiding your talents. It's about expanding your awareness, your effectiveness, and ultimately your impact.
I think that's a really beautiful way to put it. And I think it's important to remember that this is a lifelong journey. It's not something you achieve overnight. It's something you constantly work towards. And we've only scratched the surface of these 18 arts today.
Right.
There's so much more to explore. So I'm curious which one resonated with you the most.
Yeah. And how might you experiment with it this week? We'll actually link to a full translation of this source material in the show notes
Great.
if you'd like to dive deeper. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.